Hi guys. So if you're watching this by now, you've probably heard that Facebook is looking at making their own cryptocurrency. It's called Libra. And the idea that there's another cryptocurrency out there, and Facebook specifically is going to be using it, is it's sparked a lot of interest. Now, I'm not going to get into just the ridiculousness that people inside of Congress were questioning Facebook, and they had no idea what they were talking about, and the questions weren't the actual risks. So let's talk about some of the things that actually really are a good thing, and what is actually sort of a bad thing about this whole thing. Now, I'm not very big into cryptocurrency at the moment. The reason being is that just nothing has been established as the official cryptocurrency that's going to be utilized as a common good, as the common current currency, right? So I would say probably the closest thing right now is Bitcoin, but obviously Bitcoin is not accepted everywhere, and I say that because you can't go to like a Starbucks and pay for your Bitcoin, pay with a Bitcoin, right? I can't go to McDonald's and pay with Bitcoin to get a double cheeseburger. Like you just can't do it yet. Now, there's a whole bunch of economic thought and explanation on how money is representative of worth and value, and we basically kind of all agree upon what it is. Now, what's so interesting about Facebook entering the game is that Facebook is used internationally throughout the entire world, right? And one of the things that Facebook can do with cryptocurrency, and that they're at least pushing, is the fact that you can send money back and forth. It's going to be instant, right? There's no downtime, no delays with the whole banking situation, none of that stuff. And you can buy things on Facebook and whatever. So there's a lot of implications that are on the good side. Let's look at the good side first. So the good things. Well, essentially, what you're talking about is a global currency. You don't have to worry about any sort of currency exchange fees. You don't have to worry about any sort of currency. Trying to figure out, okay, well, it's worth this much here, but this much here. If I buy it over here, all these kinds of things. So you have this sort of cool advantage, especially if you're traveling around a lot. It could be far more convenient, and you're going to save a lot of money and the headaches if everything's just, oh, you're just doing Libra. Okay, fine. This is how much it is. So there's that. Now the things that, let's see if there's anything else that's good about it. Well, it brings cryptocurrency in general to the mainstream, I would say, is that most people aren't really familiar with cryptocurrency other than hearing the word Bitcoin, or really, and that's probably the extent of what they mostly understand. And the difference is that, most cryptocurrencies aren't being used in the general marketplace right now, right? You cannot buy a lot of things at your local mom and pop shops on with Bitcoin, right? You just can't do it. Not a lot of places accept or understand cryptocurrency. Libra will make that very, very easy for the common consumer, the common person, to start using cryptocurrency. And specifically, the only one they're going to know or understand is going to be Libra because it's attached to Facebook. Now, this is going to be great probably for small businesses because what you can do is you can be like, oh, hey, just you know, pay me in Libra, and you can probably get payments instantly, sped up. Not have to wait for a check or have to worry about some credit card fee when people are using the Square. There's a lot of big perks in this sort of setup. Now, what is Facebook getting out of it? Well, obviously, Facebook has plans for the future with it. But right off the bat, it's getting everybody on their platform, and it's getting everybody to utilize their platform for more things in the market, which is really, really smart of Facebook. Like it makes sense for them to enter this field. What they can also start to do is really start to push things as far as control goes, and this is where the negatives come in. Facebook, one, has a lot of, so this is where people were bad with the questions. The questions they were asking were things where like, oh, Facebook's going to know my buying habits. It's going to know this and that. Now, at least right now, they claim that that's not the case, that that's not how Facebook is going to be utilizing it. That there'll be more of a direct linkage between you and your payments. But a lot of this stuff as far as, oh, Chris spends a lot of money on comic books, so let's send him comic book ads. I granted they say that, who knows if it's true or not, or at least not right now, right? They can always change the terms of agreement later in the process. But what's actually more interesting is this idea that it's not about the individual, it's about the collective groups. The groups of people, they can see that a large amount of transactions took place for this particular good or service. Maybe that's something that they want to look into investing in. They see that a lot of people will spend money on, I don't know, diapers if it's cryptocurrency versus through their online portal. Maybe that's something that they want to like increase. Whatever the case is, they're not necessarily caring about you individually. What they're caring about is the patterns, and they can also start to sway sub patterns. I could very much see a situation where goods are sold at one price in the US currency or European currency or whatever the case is. And then there's the Bitcoin price, or sorry, there's the Libra price, right? So what you can do with that is you can basically say it so that, hey, you can get these. I'm just going with diapers because I have a newborn. You can get these diapers for 20 bucks for a box, or you can pay 18 Libra dollars. Well, with their current conversion of it being 1 to 1, okay, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do that. 18 bucks, you save money. It is actually cheaper, right? And what that does is it pushes me more and more into that setup. And you're basically creating competition within every country's own market. And it's really interesting. It really has a really good opportunity to disrupt the entire marketplace and actually control the value, I'd argue, of another country's currency, because you could easily, they could supplement and actually take a little bit of a loss on Libra dollars so that the people are swayed away from purchasing with the more expensive regular dollars, getting more and more of their cash into this crypto wallet, which means more of the transactions take place within the crypto wallet, and they're using Libra more and more and more and more. It becomes a more common main thing, and that's just how it is. There's actually a place in China right now where everything is 100% digital, right? Everything is paid for through the phone, through this credit system and all that stuff. So that's a really interesting look into sort of the future should Libra really start to gain the traction. I think it probably would have to end up taking over. Now there's concerns. Now there's another big concern. This is where it's more on the nerdy techie side. Now, one of the really cool things about Bitcoin is that there is no sort of Federal Reserve manipulating the coin, just printing out more or destroying it or anything like that. Like what there is, and they have it for value and all that stuff. But I mean, that's the whole idea, is that there's like a fixed amount, right? Kind of like money being backed up by gold. There's a certain amount of gold. And if you ever heard people say like, oh, let's go back to the gold standard, the idea is that, for every $1, there's a piece of gold for that $1 that can be traded in. We're not really at that point anymore, but that's a separate topic. So, this Libra thing. What do we do about that? Well, here's the thing. Bitcoin has it right in the sense that it's, nobody can control how that gets... can artificially inflate and deflate the value of the coin by printing out more bitcoins, or destroying them. Well, here's the problem though. With Libra, Facebook, and I think a few other countries actually, a few other companies are actually going to be in charge of creating and destroying Libra coins so that they can artificially inflate and decrease the value. Now, the idea of that is supposed to be for simplicity, right? So that for every $1, there's one Libra coin, right? And it's a very easy conversion to understand how much you're spending in Libra dollars. Now, the problem is that you have a private company who is now in control of manipulating a currency. Now, when they were asking questions in Congress, it was ridiculous because they were asking questions like, well, what if, I lost all my money and this, and I don't want to use it, or like all the bad things that could happen because of people who got screwed over when they put money into Bitcoin without knowing what it is or how it works and all that stuff. The problem with the problem that was not a good question because you don't have to use Libra, right? Libra is not a necessity currency, right? If you're inside, the United States, we accept, dollars. We accept the United States dollar exchange. We do, you don't have to accept Bitcoin. That's not the currency of the nation. What's different about Libra is the fact that because it's a international platform, if it starts being utilized internationally, it will naturally be favored throughout the entire world and could, like I said, disrupt markets for that reason because now people aren't using other currency, they're using Libra currency. Now, right now, when they come out, Libra is not going to really have a lot of things, right? Like the marketplace isn't going to be full of just everything that you can imagine is ready to go with Libra. But the point is that to get to that spot, it's not very hard. It's not going to take very much work. So when we talk about Libra entering, there is a serious threat there, and there's a cool idea of having a global currency. There is a cool idea of Facebook, even utilizing this. The problem is that Facebook is in charge of it. It's a private company. They have their own private interests in mind for everything. So you can't trust the company that's producing this this currency to also be the one who's managing, you know, how it's inflated, deflated, and destroyed, marked, or whatever. I mean, what they could do, theoretically, like this is what they could do, right? Somebody could do this. Theoretically, if I control that, what I could do is I could invest, drop the price of Libra to a very low amount, stack up, exchange a bunch of my Facebook stock or whatever to that Libra setup once there's enough cash inside the Libra system, and then crank up the value, take out all my cash, and be good to go. Now this is of course a lot more malicious and direct, but I don't see it outside the spectrum of one possibility because it's definitely not something that can't be done. But two, I also don't see it as something that even if it wasn't happening, we wouldn't naturally think that is what's going on. The market goes up and down, and it's not always within the control of easily being defined as why it's happening. But when the market's controlled by a private company, you bet if it's going up and down or there's these crazy value shifts that seem to start taking place, that Libra is definitely going to be a liability for Facebook. At which point they might, pass it off and make what money they can from it and whatever. So it's a mixed bag. I wish that people who are more familiar with cryptocurrency were questioning Facebook about some of their ideas, approaches, and practices. But there's a handful of companies that are going to be sort of in charge of kind of dictating how this works. And those companies, they could show preferences, right? Imagine Spotify having a deal where it's like, hey, pay 10 Libra dollars for a year of Spotify, right? Yeah, you bet I'm gonna get some $10 US cash converted over to Libra bucks, spend it on there, and then they pay you back or whatever, right? And then you can also see just the simple exchange too is like, hey, for every month that you have Netflix, we're going to give you 2 Libra bucks. Oh, that's just free money. All right, cool. So then I can just use those Libra bucks into another platform, right? Disney Plus or something, right? Because Disney Plus is, I'm really hoping, going to be awesome. I jumped on for the 3 year early setup. So, anyways, but yeah, so you know, there's a lot of ways. I mean, I'm not I don't work for Facebook. I don't work for any of these large companies. And when it comes to cryptocurrency, I'm not nearly as familiar with it as some of my friends, and not nearly as involved in the entire space as some of them either. So, with that being said, the fact that I can see a lot of ways of just, going about the system, um, really sort of worries me about how this could be easily exploited with very little that could be done. And also, it's also very difficult to even say that you can't not interfere with this and it not be, or that things won't happen with the platform anyways, with the currency anyways, just naturally outside the control of Facebook, that Facebook won't be seen as directly being involved in and causing. So there's a lot of liability on the line there. I'm sure Facebook has probably thought a lot of this stuff, but it's something that we should talk about. Definitely those of us in the dev community and those of us who are interested in tech. So, what are your thoughts on this whole Libra situation? Libra bucks, Libra dollars, they haven't really been Libra coins. And what are your thoughts on that? Good thing, bad thing? You're gonna get some, you're not. Whatever the thoughts, comment down below. And that's it. Talk to you later. Bye.